know, this is module number 30. This activity requires groups of 7. Now, sometimes your students may say, oh, I don't want to sit with that person, or, sometimes students don't like to change and move around, but you need groups of 7. You're going to pass out 8 pieces of rope. You could have it bundled together. I have them spread out here. So each group gets a bundle of 8 pieces of rope and these cards. You make these cards ahead of time. You can laminate them so they'll last, quite some time. Frog, grass, isopod, which is a roly-poly. You ever turned over a brick and looked underneath and there's a little bug rolled up in a ball? Those are roly-polies. They're actually terrestrial crustaceans, really. They're really cool. So you have roly-polies, you have bran, you have mealworm. Now, mealworms are not really worms. They're the larval stage of a beetle, a type of beetle. But we call them mealworms. I don't like using common names. This is really a larval stage, but they're called mealworms. Mustard seed. Mustard seed. I don't know if I showed this one yet. Cricket. Cricket. So every student in the group gets a card. You can shuffle them around, have the leader of the group, the person in charge of the group, shuffle them up, hand out the cards to everybody, so everybody has a card. So here's what they need to do. They need to decide what eats what. I mean, a frog, for example. Suppose I was given, I can find the frog, suppose I was given the frog card. And I'm looking at the other organisms in the circle. Have them sit in a circle. Cricket. Okay, I think I eat crickets. So I will take one piece of rope. I will hold one end of the rope, and the person who has the cricket card, who represents a cricket, will hold that other end of the rope. Okay. The frog might, let's see, I'm a frog. I believe I eat roly-polies too. So I'll take another piece of rope, hold one end, then I'll find the person who is the roly-poly, and they'll hold the other end of that rope. Now, what would the cricket eat? The cricket, let's say the cricket eats the grass. Well, the cricket will hold one end of a piece of rope, and the grass will hold the other end of that rope. So they go around and try to figure out what organisms these, either the animals eat. Remember, when you talk about, I don't want to say, well, I'll say food chain. Organisms, you have consumers and producers. The producers would be the plants. The plants are the producers. Consumers are the animals that eats the plants. And you have top consumers that eats some of the other animals. So this is a cool little activity. Now the students may say, well, I don't know what a roly-poly eats. Well, have them go and look it up. Or you can use other organisms that children may be more familiar with. So, what's the proper arrangement of this? What's the proper? This is how it should look. The frog eats the crickets, the roly-polies, the isopods, and the mealworms. cricket eats the mustard seeds. The crickets eats the mustard seed and the grass. The roly-polies eat the grass and the bran. And the mealworms will only eat the bran. So now you have the students make the corrections. Make them change the ropes, make the corrections. You will use all 8 pieces of rope. As you can see, there are 8 pieces of rope there. So now they're sitting in a circle. Have them take out the slack and stand up. And I know it's hard to visualize, but it's going to look like what? It's going to look like a web. This is an example of a food web. I was reluctant to use the term food chain earlier because I knew this activity was about food web, but I didn't want to say food web yet, but now I can. This is an example of a food web. Suppose there were no roly-polies. So if all the roly-polies dropped their rope, would the frogs still have something to eat? Sure. Food webs teaches children, or all of us really, that a lot of organisms eat more than one thing. You know, we're familiar with a food chain that goes in one direction. You know, fish eats the worm, the cat eats the fish, But we eat more than one thing. It's the organisms that only eat one thing, they're the ones that are in trouble. Koala bears in Australia, they're actually marsupials, right? Koalas eat eucalyptus leaves. Well, the forest burns down. The koala, unless the koala adapts to something else, to eat something else, it could die, become extinct. That has happened. You got the mountain gorillas, the bamboos, the pandas. So, fortunately, majority of the organisms eat more than one thing. And this shows an example of a food web. And you can come up with your own organisms. You can have your students research it online. Okay? So, very fun activity.